Welcome to another episode of CrossTalk. Whether you know it or not, we've been broadcasting this show for nearly 20 years. And the people that we've had conversations with, the list is long, but we are privileged to be able to speak with the folks from the communities of Whitman and Hanson and bring you information about things that are either going on or even bring you up to speed about certain things, town departments, issues, upcoming events, or even local celebrities. Joining us today, speaking of celebrities, he is your fire chief in the town of Whitman. And we bring you the one and only Tim Clancy, Chief.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you? Good to see you.
Welcome to the program. How are things at the Whitman Fire Rescue?
Yeah, no Whitman Hanson Fire.
No
yet.
Whitman Hanson. Whitman Hanson Community Access, but no.
Whitman Fire as well. The members are doing a great job. As we've seen over the time, the call volume just keeps increasing, and we just keep making it happen. And I'm very proud of how they handle the calls and how it's going forward. You know, coming into the winter months, a lot of times we see an increase in certain types of calls.
Very interesting. Let's talk about the latest from your department. We've seen one member retire. You had a little bit of a ceremony recently, and you actually have made 2 promotions.
I have. So recently, Deputy Chief Thomas Ford retired after serving the community for over 25 years. Tom was I've said it so many times, so people have probably heard this, but the greatest thing about Tom is he was a super likable guy. He was super consistent in the fire service world. You always knew what you were getting. There was no surprises. Like, he was just consistent, and it was comforting to know that. One of the greatest contributions of Tom, not only helping me with the fire prevention as the deputy, but when he was the safe officer. Generations of school children in this town have known Fireman Tom, or Lieutenant Tom, and then Deputy Tom as the safe coordinator, going into schools talking about fire education and safety. And he also, a fact of it that gets lost on occasion is he did senior safe too. So he would take time and go to the senior center and the elderly complexes and talk about challenges that face the senior population, such as falls, cooking issues, and stuff like that. And I've said it a bunch of times, but I will keep saying it. Tom, without a doubt, helped this community become safer through his training and education. And we do have a new member of that. But we wish Tom a long and healthy retirement. We had a thing for him at the fire station, and then he got his ceremonial last ride home, and he'll be missed. Side note, I've known Tom. I went to EMT school with Tommy when I was 18 years old, and then I went to paramedic school with Tommy when I was a little bit older. So I have known Deputy Ford my entire adult life. And the coolest thing, like I said, is Tom has always been Tom. Consistent. You always know what you're getting, and he will be missed.
Probably one of my favorite, a lot of things that I have covered over my years at WHCA is when you brought in unit apparatus 243. And it was not only Tom, but you had a former deputy, Joe Feeney, who could talk.
Yep.
Never met a microphone he didn't like. But he was always great when it came to doing that. And the both of them, between the 2 of them, breaking down, we went to different sides of the truck. And Tom was like right there with a great big smile, ready to talk about the truck.
Always had a smile on, which was very cool.
Yeah.
And not too many people these days walk around consistently smiling, but Tommy always did.
Right.
And like I said, I wish him a long and healthy and happy retirement.
Let's, as we're getting ready to go into the cooler months, now a lot of folks are fighting the urge to put the heat on, but usually when we talk about heating season, there's a lot of things that I think that the folks in the fire service worry about, and that is making sure that people have either, if you are burning wood, if you're burning pellets, you make sure that you're servicing your chimneys or your units. If you're heating, that you're heating properly. A lot of the things that some people think are common sense, but sometimes, again, knowing that we're living in tougher times, folks may cut corners in order to be able to,
Without a doubt. I think as we go into the colder months, you see all the stuff on social media and stuff, playing the game of who can turn the heat on last. And we're not turning it on such and such date. But I will tell you, before you turn it on, if you have your heating unit serviced by a licensed contract service agency to make sure it's functioning properly. This time of year, we do a lot of what we call delayed ignitions. We talked about it briefly before. What you end up is it's a misfire. It's a mini explosion technically in the fire chamber on the oil burner, and it a lot of times fills up the house with smoke. It's a very sulfur smell, and we get a lot of reported basement fires this time of year when the heat first starts kicking on that we go to when we find out. A lot of that can be avoided if you have it serviced regularly. I do know the times are tough, and a lot of people have some challenges, but this is one of the priorities that you should put up, along with, you brought up the burning of wood. A lot of people like to burn wood. People that are into heating their homes with wood stoves, that's a lot of times their passion. They burn a lot of wood and they do a nice job. They need to have those chimneys serviced so there isn't the buildup of creosote and, material that hasn't burned, so more or less creosote. That have those cleaned by someone that can come in, service it, and make sure it's good. We have older homes in this community. A lot of times you're using a fireplace that maybe's been there for 100 years. Have the flue and the chimney checked, especially if it's a brick chimney in your house. Have it checked so that they can make sure that everything's good and they can take a look at it. Use licensed, get your oil delivery from reputable companies. Coincide with that, I think this time of year, we always push it at change your clock, change your batteries. You can always check your smoke detectors to make sure they're operating, and also make sure your carbon monoxide detectors are working. It's coming up. Will be a big push coming out on our social media. Change your clock, change your batteries. But make sure they're working, especially if you're using alternative fuels such as the wood stoves and stuff. You want to make sure that you're not getting a high level or a dangerous level of carbon monoxide built up in the house.
Do you find your department being called around this time of year where folks are not able to check their smoke detectors or the CO2 detectors, and do you find more of a surge around this time?
To be honest with you, we do a lot of them. The safe officer, Tommy, and when we get to the end of the promotions, we'll talk about who's going out now. We go out for a lot of beeping detectors. We try and help the best we can. We see a lot of them this time of year, but I would say that we see them pretty consistent throughout the year. Faulty detectors, the 10-year life with a sealed battery now, batteries are chirping. So the thing that I think people find challenging, and I just helped a neighbor the other day, it's a smoke detector, but it's a 10-year sealed battery. You don't change the batteries anymore. So when that goes to end of life, and you read the back, whether it chirps once every 3 seconds, once every, whatever the manufacturer has determined, that detector just needs to be deactivated and thrown away and replaced.
Oh.
So those are sealed, so you can't change the batteries anymore. So that's something that a lot of people are running into when we get there and they're like, I can't change the battery. Well, it's designed not to change the battery. One of those things on some public education aspects. But yeah, we'll always come out if there's a problem with the smoke detectors. That was one of the things that the SAFE program does, a senior elderly smoke detector installation and CO and carbon monoxide detector installation. We'll go out and help the senior population put them up if necessary. In extenuating circumstances, we'll do it as well. How
often do you find your staff members going into the public schools to do, again, whether it was Tom doing it or the person who will replace Tom, to go in and talk about some of the things to impart with the youth, especially when it comes to, hey, if there's a fire, does your family have a plan? Or stop, drop, and roll, and all those things that we remember from our childhood.
So one of the cool things is the new safe officer. I think we're going to spread it out more. We always had a push. Obviously, October is Fire Prevention Month. We always had a big push this time of year to get in. I think the new plan and some of the new curriculum will allow him to get in more regularly and work in conjunction with the school, because what we don't want to be when we go is disruptive. Because a fire truck shows up and firefighter, paramedics show up and officers show up, we kind of spin it up a little bit, right? So he's going to be working with the schools to get in there more regularly and go through everything, hit specific grades through the curriculum and go up through, so we can keep the legacy that Tom has developed.
Excellent. Before we move on to our next topic, as far as heating your home with things like space heaters, do you still have people that you still find when your crews are going out during whether it's last winter or the winter before, that people are still using improper units to heat their homes?
Most definitely. We find space heaters a lot. I will tell you that if you're going to use now we don't recommend any specific brand, but if you're going to use a different alternative means of heating, whether it's a space heater or some of the other heating devices that are available out there, make sure they're approved by Underwriters Laboratory, UL. Those have been tested and checked for their fire safety in their operation. So if you're going to buy something to use as a substitute or in addition to your heating, supplement your heating, make sure that it's approved by UL.
Great, something to keep in mind. And talking about fires, recently the Signature Healthcare Brockton Hospital came back online after a major fire in, I think, February of 23. Talk to me about that 10 alarm fire and being a part of that. Fire being many communities that went to Brockton to help out, and impressively nobody got hurt. You had nearly 170 people that needed to be removed who were patients and taken to area hospitals.
That was a very challenging day. When you look at it, it's how the system was designed to work. The mutual aid came in, ambulance strike teams, which I won't go into the minutia of it, but five ambulances. But anyways, we brought in a lot of resources from all over the state. That day we interacted fire mobilization. We brought in fire departments for coverage in this area because at one point it was realized the entire South Shore was stripped. We knew there wasn't a lot of resources down here, so one of the statewide fire mobilization plans, they were put in, two teams, two task force were brought into the area and staged strategically. Being a part of it was pretty impressive. Chief Nardelli ran a great fire. We've all met. I've worked with Chief Nardelli since we were youth in EMS, so we've known each other a long time. In Plymouth County, we have a unique thing that's a third alarm chief system. If there's a third alarm in the county, different chiefs from different areas go to that area, not to take over anything, but to help. Logistics, communication, staging, and all that, in different aspects of the operation. And really, it came to play. I was there very early on in that fire. It was impressive what the members originally, and everybody did, but Brockton Fire rose to the occasion right off the bat. Chief Nardelli recognized the magnitude of this, and just like clockwork, it went. Then all the mutual aid came in. Like you said, everybody was evacuated. Nobody was injured. It did put a significant strain on the medical services on the South Shore for quite a while, but we are completely happy that they're back open and taking patients, and that they survived, that they were able to survive that thing. I don't know a lot of businesses or corporations or anything in this day and age that could rebound from that level of that level of being closed for that long and then rally, get the hospital back open and start serving the citizens of the South Shore again.
Well, there were a lot of unknowns in regards to being able, because first off, the nature of the fire was electrical as to how something had backfed, and they weren't sure if they were going to be able to reopen the hospital in its current capacity because the age of the building, a lot of the codes that have changed over the years. And when I would talk to different stakeholders, they're like, well, they could be open in 6 months. Right. They could be open in a year. A lot of it was being able to get parts. There was a part shortage. And then again, being able to rebuild it back up to code without having to tear the entire facility down.
I think in a meeting not too long ago that you were probably privy to, we spoke about this, but the city of Brockton rose to the occasion. Mayor Sullivan brought all the stakeholders together, including everybody, to get them in a room. And some outside stakeholders were involved too, to get everybody into a room to see how is this going to move forward. And there were delays. Everybody experienced supply chain issues. And those were massive pieces of electrical equipment they had to get. They were able to get them and source them, move forward, and just by the continuous teamwork of everybody involved, their city, the hospital in the state, they were able to get the hospital reopened, and it's huge. We spoke before, and I got to tell you, it was a happy, happy day when the Brockton Hospital opened.
And not to compound the situation, but do you have the whole situation with Stewart and the finances and the unknown as to, you got Good Samaritan, which is also in Brockton. Are they going to remain open, or are they going to be shuttered like we saw, like Kearney was closed? Talk to me about that as being a department head and going, okay, this is how I have to disperse my men when there are calls. Now that we have one hospital down.
Yeah, it was a significant challenge because it was a trickle down too. We talked about it briefly on a different avenue that we came up with this term that we had never really experienced called wall time. How long were our crews being at any given hospital waiting to transfer their patient? And there were nights that it was pretty significant. It would be up 20 minutes, 30 minutes. There was times that went up to 90 minutes. So you had to look at the big picture of I'm losing an ambulance with two members, at least two members. Yeah. If the patient was critical, maybe three members. We're losing them for who knows how long. We dispersed through the other hospitals that were open. We did some transports, and we occasionally go up to Boston anyways, transports up to Boston. But logistically it was difficult because how long we were losing the people in the ambulance, we don't know. The wear and tear on the ambulances, skyrocketed, I think is the best way to put it. We broke, a lot of stuff broke by no ill feasance by anybody, but just the longer trips. Obviously the roads aren't always great. We faced a lot of challenges with it, and to have the Brockton open again really helps us because I don't know statistically how many of our exact patients go there, but a lot of people go to Brockton Hospital from the town of Whitman.
What about as far as travel costs? Again, you're someone who is mindful of your annual budget. How did that play a role as well?
Falls back to the maintenance. Fuel bills were incredible because we were going a lot farther, staying a lot longer. Medical supplies, for example, increased drastically because we were doing more procedures. We had the patients longer. So some of that, it all went up. It was like global, that you saw a lot of stuff increasing. From recall of people to fill in for the people if they were going to be gone for a long time, ambulance wear and tear, medical supplies, and just, I don't want to say loss of hours, but those units being out of service till they could transfer the patient over.
What has it been like now that Brockton Hospital is back online? Is it like,
Yeah, it's significantly better.
Is it?
Yeah. Now we have the 3 hospitals again, plus Boston if we have to go up to town.
Yep.
We haven't been hearing wall time, let's put it that way.
Right.
There used to be announcements over one of the radio frequencies about the wait time at certain hospitals and text messages and groups and everything, and really we haven't been seeing that recently. It seems to be going fairly well.
You had talked about the departure of Tom Ford as a deputy chief. You actually have some promotions to talk about.
A few promotions. Starting actually this coming Monday, Lieutenant Nick Grasso will become Deputy Chief Nick Grasso. He starts Monday. Deputy Grasso will be taking over the commercial code enforcement, administrative duties that Tom and his predecessors had. We also have another promotion. Firefighter paramedic Patrick Travis is now Lieutenant Paramedic Patrick Travis. He'll be taking over as the shift commander of Group 4. Looking forward to that. That's Tuesday. And Lieutenant Brian Smith is taking over the role of safe officer. Nice. And he has great plans, and I'm really looking forward to what he does in the future.
Talk to me about overseeing and seeing the growth of seeing individuals rise up through the ranks like you did. Talk to me about it.
It's cyclical, right?
Yeah.
I was the young kid one day with a bunch of older, more mature firefighters, is the political way to say it. And it's so cyclical because one day you're the young kid, you're brand new, you're starting out. Then, a few years later, maybe you're in the middle, and then you're like, I should take a test, and you start taking tests, and you start promoting up through the ranks, and it's just funny how it follows. It's just continuous with everything. The younger guys getting married, having families, kids coming back to the fire station to see their their fathers, family members, and it's pretty wild to watch a young firefighter come through the door. And impressive and a testament to the system and the fire service in general, that you watch a new kid come through the door, and I know kids are derogatory, but a new firefighter come through the door, and then over time mature into that leader and go into that leadership position, and to see where they'll eventually end up. It's fun to watch.
Now that as being the department head, personally. Okay. Spring is it's not necessarily on the horizon, but it's down the road. And we also know that the town of Whitman is going to be celebrating a big birthday. It's the 150th. I know that there's a special word for it. Don't ask me. I don't know what it is. But I think the fire department might look to get involved with this celebration.
Yeah, we have a couple great ideas, and I have to meet with the committee coming up to celebrate the 150th. We've been asked to be involved, and there's only one answer for that. The answer is yes, obviously. Yeah. And I think what we might try and do is do it in conjunction with some fire safety stuff. Maybe I have some great ideas. I just got to run by the committee. Maybe do an open house, get the apparatus out for people to see it, and try and bring something together. Because I think a lot of times what happens is fire safety month's October, and we put it all here, but there are 11 other months.
Yeah.
So if we could spread it out and do something with that, they've come to me with some great ideas that I think would be great. As far as maybe some parades, the touch a truck, and I want to do a fire safety component of it. And it's a big event, the 150th for the town, so I'm sure all departments will be involved.
What do you feel is the most enjoyable part of your job as the fire chief, as the department head?
Watching the members of the department perform their job and perform it well. We're very fortunate. The members of Whitman Fire excel at all aspects of their job. Although we're a younger department now, they're coming up through, and like I said, it's cyclical, and they're learning. But to watch them perform at a fire, which is somebody's worst day of their life, there's no two ways about that. We would not wish that on anybody. To watch them go and be doing the right thing. So I don't respond on the trucks anymore. I either come from the station or I come from home, depending on the time of day. And it's reassuring to me when I pull up on a scene, and I get dressed, and I walk down, and I see A, B, C, D already ongoing. You know, and it's like, oh, they're doing it. And then it's just my job to coordinate what else is going on. And as far as ambulance service, there's nobody better. They take great care of the citizens and visitors to the town of Whitman. Those ambulances are super busy, and those paramedics that work on those trucks excel at what they do. And I'm very proud to have them as a department.
Anything we want to say as we get ready to wrap up our conversation here on CrossTalk?
No, just I can't stress it enough. Check your smoke detector batteries. Make sure if they can be changed, you change them. If not, if they're the 10-year seal, make sure that you know when your 10 years is up, because when they go, they go. And just if you have any questions, especially the senior population, we have that Senior Safe program. That if you need assistance in some, smoke detector, seal detectors, please reach out for us, and don't be surprised when, for the younger people with children in the school system, don't be surprised when you hear we're back out in the schools full force coming up.
We have to think of a way to get you back in studio more often. Maybe we should try to revive the former show Chief Talk and have you, from the first time you and I met, to have a conversations, to you doing Whitman Fire Rescue, the one time we did a tour. Yeah. I still remember the time that we did the sliding down the old, what there once was a fire pole. It's no longer. It's there, but it's
still there, but it's not functional.
It's not functional, so to speak.
Time of change. Yeah, no, we can do something if you want. I enjoy. I think one of the ways to get the message out these days is, when I was younger, it was all print. Now it's shows like this, cable access, local community programming, and social media. And I'm horrible at social media, so we should do this community access more regularly.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in and being a guest on the show.
Not a problem, Kevin. I always appreciate coming in.
And we want to thank you at home for tuning into programs like this, what we do here at WHCA. We love what we do, and we like helping you to be better informed with the things that are going on with the two communities we serve, Whitman and Hanson. Until our next conversation, have a great day.